Michael Velasco here with the Flat Fee team. Going to teach you today about the buyer's inspection period to the Arizona real estate contract. A lot of confusion about this inspection period and the buyer's inspection notice, seller's response, or the BINSR as we call it in our business. A lot of confusion about how this works. If you're a for sale by owner, this is a great video to watch for you. If you're a brand new agent, don't understand the inspection period, hopefully this will be helpful as well. So let's get right into it and determine, where does this inspection period come from? Okay, the first thing you need to know is it comes from the Arizona purchase contract, okay? In line 213, it'll dictate that there's a 10-day inspection period, unless modified, that the buyer has to inspect the home for any reason. So during this 10-day inspection period, the buyer is going to inspect the house, bring in contractors, bring in their inspector, and really break down everything and anything that may be wrong with your property, okay? This can be kind of an emotional thing for a lot of sellers. My recommendation is to allow them to inspect as much as they like, and it's also contractual. You allow them to inspect during that 10-day inspection period as much as they like, okay? So we're gonna allow them to inspect, and then at the end of that 10-day inspection period, they're gonna hit us with a BINSR, as we call it, or a buyer's inspection notice, a seller's response. So I pictured it here for you. It's a 3-page form. I'm sorry, it's a 2-page form, and it's got a couple of sections. We're going to break down those sections here in a second. But the first thing I want to talk to you about in regards to this form is the time periods. The buyer needs to present this to us within 10 days, okay? That period begins the day after you sign the contract. So if you sign the contract on the 1st of December, the period begins on the 2nd. So the 2nd would be day 1, okay? So it's actually almost like an 11-day period. They're gonna issue this inspection notice over to us, and we're gonna determine whether or not we feel it's something we wanna agree to, okay? So let's break down how they can respond to us first. That's gonna be, they can take the premises accepted, they can do the premises rejected, canceling the contract, both of which in the inspection period, right? So if they accept, we're through inspection, we don't have to negotiate. If they reject, the escrow is canceled, the earnest money is going back to them, okay? And during that 10-day inspection period, that earnest money is protected by the buyer, and they can get it back for pretty much any reason during this inspection period, okay? And then the third thing they can respond to is, hey, we want you to fix all these items, okay? And you can see here, there's a paragraph they can fill out, issue everything that they want you to repair, okay? So now the clock begins for the seller. We have 5 days to respond, beginning the day after you receive it, right? And so we've got a couple of things that we can respond. We can say, we aren't doing anything, so we are unwilling to do anything. That's one way to approach it. I don't recommend it, but you could say, I'm not fixing anything. The second thing you could do is say, I'm fixing everything you've asked. I'm going to do everything, okay? And at that point, the inspection period is over, okay? If you go back with anything other than I'm fixing everything, and there's a response paragraph down here, we can state, hey, we're going to do some of those items. Here are the things that we're willing to do, okay? And then you sign that, you issue that back to the buyer, and then another 5 days. That's right, there's almost 20 days in an inspection period if you're not careful. So when you get that form, I recommend getting back to them as quickly as possible so it starts that 5-day period. And you can't modify that. You can't put anything within the contract that withdraws it after a certain time frame, like you need to respond today or I withdraw it. You can't do that. It's already part of the contract that you've agreed to already that you're going to give them 5 days to respond, okay? So we're going to send this back over to them. They have 5 days. They can either cancel. They've got two options. They can either accept or cancel. The way the form is designed is that we're going to either accept it or cancel it. That's the way the Arizona Association of Realtors wanted it to be. They didn't want it to be an ongoing negotiation because it's already 20 days, right? So that's their options. They can either cancel or proceed. That doesn't mean that negotiations don't happen afterwards, but that's how the form is designed to be used. Okay, so be reasonable as sellers. My advice to you, be reasonable about repairs and try to keep that transaction together. Because if we put it back on the market and you let buyers know it's canceled already once, then they're going to say, well, what was so wrong with the house, you know? And so it starts to really pick up the suspicions of a buyer. And so if there's a way we can get through it and negotiate through that inspection period with that contract, I recommend you do it. And it makes it just, I think it's a better strategy to take rather than I'm not repairing anything, okay? So I hope this was helpful. Sellers, if you have any questions, my contact information is right below in the comments. Please subscribe to the channel as well, because there's also kinds of great information just like this video. So subscribe and you'll get that information. And really good luck during that inspection period. And if you have any questions, get a hold of me. Thanks for watching the video.